The running back position is very interesting on the waiver wire this week as we got some newcomers stepping up to pick up off waivers that we're looking at that could help our fantasy rosters or just be guys that fizzle out. But one guy we're looking at right now is Zach Evans of the Rams, rookie running back who fell to the 6th round. He has a very interesting prospect profile coming out of college. Very interesting career when we look at the numbers there in a player a lot of people like. He's got his own fan base from the recruiting scene because he's demonstrated a lot of upside. But we're going to look at the news, the facts, the data of the day, including the advanced metrics to determine whether or not you need him for fantasy football. But what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button. Tap it with your finger on your phone. Click it with your mouse, whatever you need to do to get the job done, because we're doing these deep dives on these waiver wire prospects every day. Multiple videos all week long. We're helping you set your lineups. We're helping you win those trades and everything else. Click that button. Stop missing out. But let's look into Zach Evans. So big news coming yesterday as Kyren Williams and both Ronnie Rivers are injured. They're going to be out for a bit. Ronnie Rivers might be out for the season, but we're going to wait for that. Kyren Williams is going to be out for a good bit. He's in a boot right now, per the tweet from Ian Rappaport. But we got more news today as the Rams signed Darrell Henderson, former Rams running back, to their practice squad, and Royce Freeman to their active roster because they need running backs. They need depth. They need opportunity. They need guys to run the football. They need that experience on their team because they cannot go with just Zach Evans. Royce Freeman, he's been up and down from the practice squad all season long. Royce Freeman's getting his opportunity this week. He's going to continue so as long as these running backs are out. Darrell Henderson, don't be surprised if he doesn't get called up. I would not be surprised if this backfield becomes a mess sooner than later. But you're interested in Zach Evans. You want to know about him. We're going to talk about him. We have not seen much out of him this season. We saw a little bit out of him in week 6 due to the injuries, a little bit in some mop-up time. 4 attempts, 10 rushing yards, 2.5 yards per carry. That's all we got on the season. That's all we got. 11% snap share in week 6 against the Cardinals. But going back to his collegiate profile, he was a 5-star recruit, second running back in his class behind Bijan Robinson. Every collegiate program wanted him, and he courted all of them. He led all of them on, and then at the end of the recruiting process, it was late, he randomly chose TCU, went with them, shocked everybody. He catfished all these collegiate programs, went to TCU, started his career off there. Freshman year, 2020. 2020 wasn't a great year for anybody. Played in 9 games and ran for 415 yards. 4 touchdowns. We were expecting a lot more in 2021. A lot of people were looking for him to do some things. His season ended early due to an injury. Then he was starting to talk about transferring. Mentioned going to Deion Sanders, transferring wherever he was at. Ended up at Ole Miss last year. Rushed for 936 yards, 9 touchdowns. The numbers do not say it all. Go back and look at the tape. Find the highlights if you want to make it quick. But this guy's got some upside. This guy's got some juice. This guy can move. He was a 5-star prospect for a reason. Look at the yards after contact here. 3.56 last year, 4.3 the year prior, 5.76 as a freshman on 54 rushing attempts. Pretty solid. This guy is nasty in the open field. This guy's got burst. This guy's got wiggle. This guy's got juice. He's fun to watch, especially when you look at the highlight tape. You follow the draft community, you're going to see a lot of people who are very high on Zach Evans. A lot of people expect him to be one of the top running backs in this class. Fell to the 6th round. And then looking at the numbers from Ole Miss, he was the RB2 there behind Quinshon Judkins because Judkins was solid. He was stout. But Zach Evans, 6.5 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns, still had a good season. In his first season, his only season there at Ole Miss, looked good there. He had his moments as well. They had a good 1-2 punch there at Ole Miss, but I wanted to point that out. He also has some decent receiving production on his career. Due to the juice in his game, if he gets the ball in open space, he could eat up a chunk of yards. Again, going back to a recruiting profile to let you know it's real. 5 stars right behind Bijan Robinson. Some people liked him better than Bijan Robinson back then. But Bijan Robinson was the locked-in stud ever since he was in high school. Zach Evans had a big name coming out of the high school recruiting ranks, and we were waiting for him in college to really blow up. He never really did, but he flashed. He flashed in some big ways. He's got some fun tape. Go watch that. Go pull up those highlights. But going back to the draft stock here, fell into the 6th round. Did not do well at the combine. 4.56 40-yard dash. 51st percentile speed score at 208 pounds. We were expecting him to do a lot more at the combine. We were expecting him to run low 4.4s, have a good burst score. We didn't get that. We were expecting a lot more. I imagine the NFL was too, and they were expecting him to really exceed expectations in this department due to what we saw on tape, due to what we saw there. Because we saw him do some things, but he wasn't really able to produce at the collegiate level either. He wasn't able to hit those top-end results. That indicates that he's a guy that struggles to hit his upside. He struggles to be consistent. We saw that on the field. We saw that throughout his collegiate career. We saw that during the draft process. We talked about that left and right. This spring, when we were getting ready for the draft, after the draft, we hammered that home. Zach Evans, a very volatile prospect, but now we're here. We're here. He might be the starting running back here for the Rams. They brought in some other jabronis here. This could be a jabroni backfield going forward, but Zach Evans is a jabroni with some extra brony in him. But looking at this offense, they run 67 plays per game, 41 pass attempts, 25 rush attempts. Why not just throw it more? Why not just throw it to Cooper Kupp a little bit more, Puka Nacua a little bit more, call it a day? Why rely on these jabroni running backs? But again, Zach Evans has some upside. You give him a few extra carries, he pops a couple, then you're going to give him a few more carries, and that's what you're betting on. Zach Evans had some moments in preseason with the second and third teams, but they weren't grandiose. They weren't big plays, but there were plays where he got more than what was blocked for him, but still, we're not getting anything out of him yet. The team said, hey, we're not using him yet. We're using Ronnie Rivers over him. The team said, hey, we're going to wait till the 6th round to draft him. The NFL said that. They said, hey, we're not burning picks on this dude, even though a lot of running backs fell in this year's draft. A lot of good running backs. It was a deep running back class. We had a lot of supply, not much demand due to how we view the running back position these days. But the upside's there, but there's a lot of running backs who fall in the later part of the draft that don't hit their upside. They're all upside, and they do not touch it. They do not make it happen. That could be Zach Evans here. But the thing is, you want to take a gamble. This is a gamble. This is a gamble. If you want to gamble on the waiver wire, on a shit coin, this is it. And you could go to the moon here. We've seen it. A lot of people talked it up over these last few years. And they've talked it up pretty big. And he's done some things on tape that looks pretty good over these last few years. However, it has not been consistent. It has not been otherworldly. He has not given you top-tier production. And it's something that we've been waiting for a long time. The NFL said, hey, we're not paying for this. We'll pay a 6th-round draft pick to see what happens, but we're not paying up for this. However, you're not taking this gamble. You don't trust the situation. They're already bringing in running backs. They already brought up Royce Freeman. They're trying to see what they're doing with his offense. They don't know what's going on themselves. They are in flux right now. They're more likely going to throw it a little bit more. Maybe they have Evans out a little bit more. They should. Evans should be seeing more snaps. He should be seeing some opportunities. He does have some pop in his game. He could surprise you. The odds are still stacked against him. The odds are still stacked against that he sees a big workload. This is a wait-and-see type of deal. However, somebody's going to roster him. Someone's going to pick him up. You may want to pick him up because the upside's through the roof. And you know what? If it's dirty quick, you drop him because you know what's happening. If it's dirty quick, Royce Freeman's getting more touches than him, more snaps than him, then you know what? You know what's going on. You can drop him. He's going to tell you quick. He's going to tell you pretty quick. But he can pop a few runs. He has that in his game. He does have the upside for that. He could crack a 100-yard game. He could do that. He just needs the opportunity. He needs to get the coaching staff to trust him. He needs to be consistent. He needs to do the things to get the job done. But we have not seen that yet. The upside's grand. The downside's low. The cost is very cheap. Everybody's interested in him. Zach Evans is a guy that could do some things at the NFL level and really surprise you and blow your hair back. He's a better prospect than Kyren Williams was coming out. Kyren Williams, when he was coming out, he was more dependable, better in the passing game. This guy right here has more gusto, more upside, more juice. A lot of people were clamoring for him in the draft community coming out. A lot of people were saying he was one of the top running backs in this class. A lot of people were saying, hey, this guy's worth a second-round pick, third-round pick, should be a mid-rounder. Fell to the 6th round, late-round prospect. The NFL said different. Where are you going to place your chips at? He's an upside guy with a lot of downside, just like anybody else you're picking up off the waiver wire. I say it's a catch-and-release type scenario because if he doesn't hit instantly, feel free to release him pretty soon because he's going to tell you rather quick this week whether or not he's earned a big role in this offense. But you may want to see this through. You may not, depending on your situation. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out, and I'll catch you on the next video.